All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. Welcome, folks, to the Community Curation podcast. I am your host, The Gothic Storyteller, and with us today is CarverofSyn. What's up, my main man and everything? How
How
you doing?
goes it, man? Good.
It's good and everything. Folks who do not know, Carver is a Twitch streamer and a musician. I think we just recently I've been pushing for him to do content creation when it comes to his horror games that he plays, because the man plays anything and everything horror related. I was like, we need like the Carver seal of approval when it comes to a
Heavy
lot
focus
of
on
these.
indie horror.
Yeah, the focus would be on indie horror. The Carver
Yeah.
seal of approval for, it's like, is this good? Is this not?
Yes, sir.
I actually think I saw the other day. You haven't played Graveyard Shift, have you?
I have not, no.
So I actually played that. And I was all like, I sat there and saw that you had that on your list. And I was like, oh, I fucking finally played a damn game. His ass is not
Played
played.
one I haven't gotten yet.
Very, very fun. I plan to sometime in the near future, before this episode drops, I plan to actually drop what is it? Like a TikTok or whatever of all the jump scares that I kind of got in there. It's a fun little roller coaster ride.
I heard it's a short bite-size horror movie or a horror game.
It is, because my sister played it first,
Okay.
and she finished it in 2 sittings, and I think she told me it took her 4
Sounds about right.
hours. So I played it coming back from after my hiatus in August. I played it first thing. I beat that game in an hour.
Oh, wow.
And everything, which I'm over here. It's like, sister, you know that there's a shift button to run, right? So I think she just walked the entire.
Just walked her way through the whole movie.
She walked her way through it, and I'm like over here, like, oh, gotta get back, and I'm holding down that shift key,
Running.
mostly because that's how I play Phasmo. I never walk, I run, because I don't.
I played the Outlast series the same way.
Yeah, it's like unless you're trying to avoid anyone from like trying to get
I just smashed through.
Yeah. Or yeah, there is like a way to do that, like but yeah, it's like I like run. I think the only horror game I play where I don't really run a whole lot is Dead by Daylight.
Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, and I mean, that's like the one where it's like I kind of creep, but like if I know that there's a big enough gap, I'll run it and just hope and pray.
I'll take off too. Yeah. I play a lot of DBD. For those people out there that don't know me, that's what got me started streaming to begin with. My community played a lot of DBD, and we still fall back on it for community nights a lot. So I mean, that's kind of what started my adventure into streaming, not necessarily my adventure into horror games. Horror games for me started with the original Nintendo Friday the 13th games like that. Shadowgate.
Did you ever play the Friday the 13th one?
The newer one, the co-op game?
The original one, the one where you're walking around and then you had like I think like a meter or something that informed you. Jason's kind of.
I literally have it sitting next to me in complete inbox on the desk next to me.
Nice and everything. I feel like that's probably the only horror game of that era that was probably true to the franchise.
Yeah, I feel like it was too, because they did do like Nightmare on Elm Street, and they had a Beetlejuice game and stuff like that.
They also had a Halloween one.
They were in
that looked
Halloween.
Funny. Yeah,
they were in no way related to each other at all.
Yeah, and where the Friday the 13th one, it's going around looking for little kids.
Yeah, trying to save the campers.
Yeah, which I'm like over here. It's like, if you've seen the movies, Jason never goes after those kids because I think he sees himself as a kid. Them. And
kids are safe in the Friday the 13th. They always have been.
Yeah. I think like they've been used kind of for jump scare moments, because I think it was part 5. I think was the time where Jason was actually killing while the campers were still there.
Right. And that was the first time anybody else was around for the killings. Like that.
Like he didn't wait this time. Like he was going. And
Jason Takes Manhattan. Obviously, that one was a little bit different, where he was in Manhattan itself and killing in front of God and everybody.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit, especially to the punks.
No, he didn't give
that.
No.
They're listening to their music and he fucking kicks that shit, and they're like, "Hey man, what the fuck?" And he just unveils.
He showed him what the fuck.
I think that's probably the most mercy he's ever given anyone in the whole franchise and everything. Look at us, we're already way off the track and everything.
We're already way off track.
That happens here to the show and everything. We get all the way off track.
Friday the 13th, in fact, not a movie we're discussing today.
Exactly, and everything. Maybe in the future. I've been having guests come back on that want to discuss franchises ever since.
I would like to do that as well and go through the like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street's, Halloween's, you know, the iconic
ones,
genre defining ones. Yeah.
I did with Adam a couple of months back and everything. I think it was in June. Yeah, I think it was the June episodes. We covered Tremors. We
Tremors,
covered those.
that's a good one.
And then Leaving July. No, not Leaving July. It actually just came out here just recently, about like 2 weeks ago. I had Angie on here. We talked the Conjuring franchise. Mm. And funny enough, I went.
Yeah, the new one just came out. You just saw that one, dude.
That was perfect. You know, I was like, oh, we're plugging their fucking film without no money.
Yeah, right now.
It's like I'm plugging your shit and everything. So you better hope your movie was good, and it was. I actually really enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard nothing bad.
Like there's a couple of things I feel like I just don't like where the franchise went. That like I felt like if they just stuck with the same formula of one with minor tweaks, you know, less about the Warrens, more about the family, that stuff. But like no, I enjoyed. I loved that film. We saw it on opening night, me, my sister, my niece. Yeah, no, I think that there was enough jump scares to the point that you didn't get sick of them. It was more of the all I can't believe I let that get to me. Like, what the hell?
I'm tough to jump scare anyway. If anybody's ever seen my streams, I don't jump scare. Like that's I've been watching these movies and playing these games for so long. I can call them. You know, I'm kind of like 3, 2, 1, bye. You know, so it doesn't. I don't get most of the time.
I can generally do that
very rarely.
But what's sad is I think for me, what's more of the jump scares, it's the music. Because if you hear me play freaking DVD, I sound like a fucking deranged maniac.
Right. Yeah, we played Deeps together.
Yeah, and like I wish that there was a camera down below to sit there and show my feet, because half the damn time when I'm being chased, I'm kicking my feet in midair.
Kicking your feet and running.
Yeah.
Like really running. Yeah.
But then like when I played The Beast Inside, that was a fun roller coaster ride. That was
a phenomenal one.
That one's like a good like don't fucking touch me, don't fucking touch me, don't fucking touch me. You know.
I enjoyed that one. Yeah. That one I was pleasantly surprised by. I played that one going in with no expectation. And I was really surprised by that game. The twist ending, the good. And again, with that game being very solitary, you were pretty isolated for most of that game.
Yeah.
And the ambient sounds, they did a really good job with the sounds and the atmosphere in that.
I think the perfect metaphor, or not metaphor, but description for that is it is a fun roller coaster ride. It's probably the closest I'll probably ever get to like doing Halloween Horror Night. That's because you kind of get a little bit of almost everything. You get like a monster chase. You even go into the mines and you're like on like a little mine cart, and you know, it's all fun.
A little thrill ride for a second.
Yeah. But and then you get like a little bit of break and you're just playing around with this stupid friggin' detector thing and gotta go find this, gotta go find that.
Stupid little puzzle moment.
Yeah. It breaks up its pace very, very well. And it's like, I want more games like this. Like, it doesn't have to be deep story, but just fun. You know?
Yeah. The story was okay in that one too. It wasn't that it wasn't deep. It wasn't like it was a shallow experience by any means.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was more about the atmosphere for that game for me. The story. I mean, the story wasn't as predictable as I thought it was going to be either. Because you know, just as soon as you think you got it figured, you don't.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Exactly. I think we're gonna jump right off into the films.
Sure.
Carver has 3 films. Wait, hold on. Before we even get there, we forgot to even mention you as a musician. What got you started in the music? What was your inspirations? What made you want to get into this?
I've always been surrounded by music most of my life. I grew up in Alaska, so we grew up around a lot of bluegrass and a lot of folk type music. Up there was pretty much the huge scene. A lot of blues and a lot of funk growing up with my family. So that was obviously blues and funk and jazz was a big influence for me as a kid. And I've always had a love for blues and for the camaraderie that kind of music brings. The crowds, the people, the vibe in the place when you're playing a show like that is always immaculate. The people are always involved. It's always a group effort to put on a blues show. It's not just everybody sitting down quietly watching or a mosh pit with nobody paying attention. It's an interactive experience, and I've always enjoyed that about blues. All of my music, even when I was playing metal over the years, And I've been on stage with some greats. I've been on stage with Five Finger Death Punch. I hung out with Metallica quite.
Oop.
And out of all of that, blues still is the root of everything that I've done, blues and jazz.
You've been on stage with Metallica. Like, what era of Metallica were you playing with?
I wasn't playing with them. I actually wasn't on stage with Metallica. I mean, I've played guitar with them in a social setting. I used to, as a kid growing up in Alaska, I used to run river charters during the summertime when I was off from school. And they used to charter a riverboat every year. So we'd go up the Kenai River and camp out for a week at a time and go fishing. So I got to hang out with James and Lars and everybody, and we would sit on the ditch bank covered in mud and filth and fish guts and eggs. And there was always an acoustic guitar, and they always brought way too much whiskey and beer. And we'd sit up there for days on end talking, and I got to connect with those guys. And that was great growing up, obviously. It was right during the Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, just before all of that. And then like the Master of Puppets era. So it was later Metallica, obviously. But it was definitely a good time. And it was a lot of that. It was a lot of what it was me to start playing metal in the beginning, because that's what they play. And that's what I was exposed to by them and people like that. But I still kept that blues background.
Hell yeah. What are a few blues and folk artists that you
obviously, like Buddy Guy. I listened to a whole lot of Muddy Waters, B.B. King, obviously the father of it all. There's so much heart and soul in that kind of stuff. And there's an old saying in the blues community: suffering brings excellence, and it does. It really does. And bluegrass as well. Folk music, as far as bluegrass and stuff like that goes. I was in a local bluegrass band called Midnight Hayride up in Oregon for a long time, and also a great time. I was a 13.
Oh, hold on. Did we lose you?
I mean, just as far as like the folk music and stuff like that, up in Alaska, we had a lot of local artists like Yukon Gold and stuff like that, where it was more about like Alaskan folk, which revolve around like, native culture and stuff like that. And, the woods and the land and the environment of Alaska, which is absolutely beautiful. A lot of mystic, a lot of myth and wonder up there even.
Huh. So, I gotta ask, what is bluesgrass? I'm pretty sure I may have probably heard a few artists.
Bluegrass is more of an upbeat folk type of music, heavy on the banjo, harmonica, usually a lot of fiddle. It's country roots, grassroots, for sure.
Okay. I think I kind of what
Soggy Bottom Boys would probably be as close as you've heard.
Be considered as bluesgrass.
Blues Traveler is legitimate blues, but it's more of an upbeat pop punk blues. The 12 bar blues, the pentatonic blues, is what started all of that stuff. Any B.B. King, Muddy Waters, bands like that, yeah, that's true blues, Delta blues.
I think I discovered Muddy Waters because I think it was Nirvana or it was the Melvins. I think one of those two bands had covered, I think, a Muddy Waters song or two, and that's all like, oh, like this is like the closest to that type of music from that era that, it always felt like a lot of some of the classic stuff that I listened to that maybe I didn't learn from my mother. I learned it from the whole Seattle grunge scene, because people will be like, oh, we'll just cover these like non-existent songs and like,
songs nobody knows and make them our own.
Like there are songs that this is what our parents listened to, and like that's like, I guess, like their backdoor opening to childhood nostalgia.
Well, that's where our music starts, is with our parents, with our family. It's what you listen to in the car, it's what you listen to at home, and then our peers are what we listen to and grow up to. You know what I mean? So like, we all come from some kind of root. My dad was big on like Cher and Dolly Parton and Three Dog Night and bands like this. And my mom, she listened to NPR. Yeah. So it was always that like elevator music type radio stuff.
I definitely know I've adopted a lot of my mom's music taste. Like she listened to quite a bit of everything from like classic country, like the Highwaymen and everything like that. I listen to the Beatles. I listen to practically almost anything and everything.
You can't grow up without listening to the Beatles. At our age, the The Doors. I mean, it
I
was
grew up constantly watching the Yellow
iconic.
Submarine. Like, I mean, like
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
old like yellow, you know, case.
Yeah.
You open it up and like, yeah.
Mhm.
So I that's
And I
how I
mean,
listened to all their
we had
hits.
bands like we had TV shows like the Partridge Family,
Yeah.
and we had the Monkees. You know what I mean? Growing up on
So
TBS.
my mom grew up on that one, but I ended up growing up through it was an old, I guess it had been local because no one really remembers it, but it was Channel 55 The Tube. Like, this is like back when we still had the old dinosaur where like you had to go up and crank the son of a bitch
Crank the
on.
dial. Yeah.
Yeah, like we had like an old TV and it was the only one that we had, and we would
Right.
watch Gunsmoke
Gunsmoke.
or
Yep. Little House on the
MASH.
Prairie. MASH.
I'm pretty sure I think my parents watched Little House on the Prairie,
Oh
but
yeah.
I probably tuned that out. But most of the stuff I
And
remember was yeah.
MASH still holds up.
Oh yeah,
Still holds up.
it's super relevant. Still holds up. It.
Alan Alda created an empire with that.
Mm-hmm. Uh, believe it or not, I preferred the TV show over the movie, and it really sucks.
Oh yeah.
I actually like the director's work. Crap, what's his name? I'm gonna hate myself for doing it because I love a whole lot of his works. I think he did Robert Altman.
Robert
And
Altman.
everything. Yeah, I love Altman's stuff with McCabe and Mrs. Miller. Did he do Popeye? Okay, that probably has been like his first and only bomb. The Long Goodbye, he did that one. So I watched like a lot of that stuff. As I got older, I think I started enjoying
Robin Williams and Shelley Duvall, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know,
Yeah.
like God, that's my childhood right there. But yeah, so like I grew up with that for like music. I also listened to Metallica. We didn't. I didn't really listen to a lot of their earlier stuff, but my mom was a fan of the Black Album.
The Black Album was what created Metallica.
And I think that just kind of goes with some of her music because like a lot of the music that she listened to in the '80s, she listened to Rainbow, Dio, Judas Priest.
Oh yeah.
My aunt's a big Judas Priest fan. She loves them. Yeah. I don't know if my mom was that much of a Rush fan, but I definitely know when
I'm a huge Rush fan.
When we used to sit there and just rip music on the CDs.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I think she would have like a Rush CD or so.
Back in the day of Napster.
Yeah, and everything before Lars shut all that shit down.
Yep.
But like yeah, like music. I think right next to film and storytelling, I think music is a really big key thing. Before I wanted to get into storytelling, I wanted to actually work in the music industry. I wanted to be like the actual guys that actually help the musicians like record, do all that. And then I found out how much math was put in there, and I'm all like, fuck that.
Yeah, it's an insane amount of work to do all that stuff. It's one thing for me and my band to come in and lay down a song, and once I walk away, the work starts.
Yeah. Because like I knew that there was like a lot of math, and then when I went to film school, because it was like film, animation, audio. I took a few audio classes because that was mandatory. I enjoyed those, but I looked at my buddy's homework. He's all like, "Do you think you can solve this?" And I looked at, I was like, "What the fuck kind of chicken scratch is that?" And he's all like, "Oh, like this is homework," and he's like, "Our homework is one problem, and we have to solve it." Before
nope, I'm not. I'm not mathematically inclined. I never have been.
I was good in high school with math, and in after school, math changed.
Right.
It's like that incredible scene. It's like, why can't I do it this way? This way worked. Like, you know, math is math, and it's like, well, this is the way they teach.
And then Common Core math, and then
yeah. Oh my god. And see, now we're aging ourselves. Now we just
a little bit. I mean, if the gray in the beard doesn't age me, nothing.
I've had friends that sit there and start pointing out that the grays and the silvers in my hair, and I was like, "You guys are just now noticing that? Like that stretching's been there for a while. Like
it's been there a long time.
Yeah, it's been there. Like usually it's always like in the beard. That's why I always trim it, so I just hide it. But folks, we are gonna sit there and get into one of our first film, which is musically inclined, at least for the beginning.
At the beginning of it, it's got an amazing score.
Yes, an amazing score, but like the beginning definitely. I as I was watching this, I was like, I know why Carver picked this. I was like, I know exactly why Carver picked this. The music, the scene, everything. It is Terry Gilliam's Tideland. A fantasy, yeah, fantasy horror, yeah, I can agree on the fucking horror aspect of that and
Yep.
everything. This is a fucked up film.
It is a fucked up film.
It is. It makes me go back to the John Waters quote. It's all like,
It's based
has some faith in your own taste. Watch a fucked up film,
right.
and you know,
it's based on trauma and leaves you with a little bit to take home with you.
Yeah. And what really also strikes a chord with me, this all takes place in Texas, and just the way how it's shot,
which is where both Gothic and I are, is in Texas. So,
and just the way how it's shot, just the way how, like, you've at least probably came across some instance in this film you have come across in life if you grew up in Texas.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
And it's funny too, because there's another filmmaker who is not from Texas that gets Texas so perfectly. If you've ever seen Paris, Texas, everything, perfect cinematography of how it is. And what's funny enough, when they go to Houston, because that's where I'm from, I looked at it, I was like, wow, this is what Houston looked like. I was like, it looks prettier than what it kind of does now.
It's way nicer than what I got.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, Houston always looks pretty during the holidays, but the rest of the year, it's all like, no.
Brown scorched earth.
I still love it. It's my city, but like, no. It's like, I like it better in Christmas time when they have all the pretty lights up. But
I've been up there a few times, but I haven't really had too much time to explore Houston. It's on my to-do list.
Yeah, most definitely. Why did you pick Tideland outside of the musical beginning?
As far as Tideland goes, I think it's one of those shock and awe films, right? So for me, it was so abstract and so arbitrary when I saw it for the first time. And this is kind of how Gothic was presented the movie too. My girlfriend at the time came home and she's like, I found this movie. It's absolutely fucking amazing. You need to sit down and watch it with me. It's the best movie I've ever seen. I was like, oh, okay. And I spent most of the movie with a what the fuck look on my face, because it is so horrifying and so dark that you are left wondering what the fuck's going on for 90% of the movie. It deals with a lot of trauma. It's based on trauma. Everybody in it is suffering from one form or another. And I think that and it's got some huge names in it. It's a much lesser known film, but the cast is people we all know: Jeff Bridges, Jennifer Tilly. And I mean, it's dark and depraved. It is absolutely shock and awe. And I really enjoyed the journey through that and reading between the lines, because what makes it so shocking to adults isn't the way the movie's supposed to be intended. It's looked at and viewed through the eyes of a young girl, from the eyes of innocence. She's not seeing what we're seeing the way that we're seeing it. She hasn't been trained to see the horrific imagery that we're seeing the way that we see it and take it. She's seeing it through the innocent eyes of a child and dealing with it the best way she can.
Yes. From drug-addled parents and helping them with their addiction.
And helping them. The very first scene of the movie is her.
Can you repeat that last bit? Your mic went out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said the first scene in the movie is her cooking heroin for Bridges.
Yes. And then she's helping Jennifer Tilly out with her, I think
the junkie mom.
Meth. I think it was just straight meth and everything.
I think so.
And she was taking that shit in like it was medically induced.
Yep.
You know, like that right there, when it comes to child abuse, I can watch that, and I guess I don't sit there and I don't tremble too much of that, because I never grew up with that. I grew up with drugs
there's
around
definitely
me,
kids
not
that have
from
been
my
around
parents,
that like that.
but in the environment that I was at and everything, I constantly grew up with a family that completely self-destructed itself on drugs and alcohol, and I watched as brother and sister just died off, you know.
Right.
And right. The sad thing is whenever I moved, when I finally left that's like when like the one person who was the biggest troublemaker, he had finally went, and I was like, are you serious? It's all like, to me, I was like completely shocked, because it's like I didn't sit there and think that family could take any more damage.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in a pretty good home, so it wasn't until later in my life when I left home and the people I was around and on the streets and, you know, partying and playing music the way that I did and everything like that, and exposed to the dark side of all of that. And I saw a lot of it really fast. And that's something that a lot of people, and like I said, this film really touches on that. A lot of people don't see that side of everything. And though it's taken to the extreme in this film, because it definitely is taken to the extreme in this,
Yeah,
but there are children that deal with that every day, and
that's sad.
there are definitely children that deal with that every day. And then, you know, there Jeff Bridges is probably thousands of kids' moms in the inner cities. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what? That's another thing I can fucking identify with my own fucking father. Didn't mean to get that dark. But that's the thing. This film does
Like I
also
said,
make
it leaves you with some trauma.
This film makes you really self-reflect in everything with like a lot of things, and especially when it comes to, you know, when there is sexual assault, incest, all that other stuff going on. Like, you know, I'm just like, bro, what the hell? Like, it kind of it definitely made me analyze, like, in the most foreign sense of my life, my father's family. And I'm like over here, it's like Carver's fucking really making me really reflect here on my family. It's all like, my mom seems to be the somewhat normal kind, but we all have our own forms of crazy and everything.
Absolutely.
But anytime that I look over at my father's side and everything, that's a whole level of, I think, because it's still shrouded in mystery. I feel like this child where it's like you're venturing off into a land, and anytime that I got to meet any of his family, it was so foreign. There's so many questions left unanswered, and
most junkies, like Jeff Bridges, they tend to keep that behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So it's a very hidden habit. You know what I mean? That, again, this being the very extreme form of drug abuse. But I mean, not all of it ends up with you being a piece of taxidermy at the dinner table. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
there's.
I wonder if he was watching Texas Chainsaw when he wrote this, because that's the vibe that I got.
The character that Dell played was a taxidermist. That's what she did for fun in her spare time with the squirrels and the rats and shit like that. And that was her way of keeping her long star-crossed lover alive with her.
Yeah, that and like their mother and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear to you, I was not expecting that whole scene where Dell catches Dickens and
Jeliza Rose,
kissing in Mama's bedroom, and then
silly kissers.
And then Jeliza and Dell get into this whole fight, and Jeliza just cracks Mom's head open, and she's like, "Mama, Mama," and then like you just immediately watch that woman who is like this kind of
scary. And that's where Dell breaks. Like she breaks mentally, and which is crazy that's what it comes to, right? Like that's the straw that broke the camel's back at the end of the day.
But then it's even worse because throughout this film there is this talk that Dickens is constantly fighting this giant shark, which is a train.
Which is a train that had given him the brain damage that he has.
Yes.
And let's talk about the actor playing that role, that handicapped role. He did so good.
Brendan Fletcher.
Brendan Fletcher did so good.
This is still like also in an era where I don't know, because whenever he was playing it, all I thought of was Sean Penn's I Am Sam. And how like this was meant to kind of, it wasn't meant to be harmful to people with disabilities or anything like that.
No.
Like he was generally trying to come from a place.
It was an honest betrayal.
Yeah. But you could tell when, you know, I mean, like even Tropic Thunder even sit there. I'm not going to say the word, but you know the line and everything. You know the line. Yeah. It's all like, you know, like Sean Penn, I Am Sam, never go that and everything. It's like, look what happened to his career after that. And I was like, yeah, because I don't think he ever recovered from his career. Like he's had a few good wins, but then most of the time.
I mean, it's hard to come back from a role like that, you know what I mean? And this coming from an amazing director.
Yeah.
I mean, Time Bandits, Brazil, hell, Monty Python, you know what I mean? This guy has done stuff that has made generations laugh and generations smile. This was not one of those.
No. But do you think that, I guess both the work that him and Brendan Fletcher did, I think did it somewhat respectfully and not so much tacky, kind of like, you know,
absolutely.
I guess like what Sean and them would do, or like hell, even Dustin Hoffman when he did Rain Man and he was supposed to play
Raymond.
Yeah, you know. I don't think Dustin
also another iconic role. No, Dustin doesn't give as much fight. He is a much more respected actor than Fletcher ever will be.
It's
Dustin Hoffman.
But I think I also we were talking offline before this. Like Brendan, I remember seeing him in Jason, Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason.
He had like one of the most gnarly deaths, but I had no clue. I only saw the first Rampage, never finished it. The Yule Bowl films, and that's because then I realized I'm watching a Yule Bowl film. This isn't good. I hate the really shit. I hate I really hate to just shit on a director just because, but like, I mean, I have seen
It's
a
hard not
good
to.
handful of his films from beginning to end. Rampage, I just couldn't.
Right.
It was just
No.
bad. But like watching House of the Dead,
Well, that was intentionally bad, though.
yeah,
Like,
but
that was intentionally bad.
but oh my
Which I'm
god,
fine with. Sam Raimi did that for a living. You know what I mean? Like,
true,
intentionally bad is
and
intentionally bad can be good. These were just bad.
yeah, you will bowl. I think it's the pronounce. I think I'm mistaking his name and everything, but the Alone in the Dark film.
Alone in the Dark
I
film.
remember
Yep.
watching that. I was like, "What the absolute shit?" Blood Rain.
And I wanted to love that.
Yeah, you know, to me, like you for one, you have a great lead actor playing a supernatural detective of sorts.
Yep.
You know, that should have sold.
That should have sold. Yeah, that
What the
absolutely
fuck
should have sold.
happened? You know,
I mean, they
like
made City of Lost Children work. Like,
yeah. So that's what also too what this film reminded me a little bit of, because you could definitely tell at the beginning once Jeff Bridges gets Jeliza to Texas and at his mama's house and everything,
his mama's house.
and he overdoses, but she doesn't know that,
She has
and
no idea.
yeah, and she's exploring this whole brand new thing. It's like the 100-year sea. There's a lot of that comparison that goes to that, and I look at this as all like, this is very fantasy like. I was like, I did not know you could turn Texas into a fantasy, but
Well,
then
and
again,
that's her self-defense. You know what
yeah,
I mean? That's her dealing with all of this.
and
Having ever really faced death and not having to been alone like that. But she was used to spending time alone because so she pretty much raised herself to begin with, right?
yeah,
And during that, she's surviving on peanut butter and hanging out with her friends, her 5 little friends.
yeah,
So
and Paris, Texas, Wim Wenders, he was able, I think, to give a bit of a mystique to the Texas landscape.
mhm,
Whereas
mhm.
Gilliam was able, but Gilliam plays with fantasy a lot. That was
Yeah, oh
just
yeah,
so easy, and
100%.
it's
Yeah.
all like, you
Imagery
know,
for Gilliam's always been a thing.
and it's funny too because it's all like, I grew up in Texas. I don't really kind of get all of this beautiful scenery because I think once you've been here enough, that magic washes away and
It does.
everything.
Yeah.
And it always feels kind of beautiful when a filmmaker can do this so well,
Makes you
where
see it a little bit differently, with a
yeah,
little bit more wonder
it reminds
and
you of The
mystery
Shine just
than
a little bit, you know,
yeah.
but it
Because
also
I mean,
kind
we
of,
drive down the road, it's flat, it's brown, it's windy. You know what I mean? Like
you're
for us, we
either,
don't really take the time to walk off into the woods and smell the roses.
yeah, you're either dealing with that, or you're dealing with the grasslands, or you're dealing with the hills.
Grasslands,
I'm kind of
or you're in
more
West
hill,
Texas.
you know.
Yeah, you're a
Yeah,
little more hill
yeah.
country. Yeah.
I'm East Texas, and you're more west,
Yeah.
and
I'm
you
more
know.
west. I'm central, dead square central
Well,
Texas.
yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, it goes to show you just how beautiful this state can be.
Mhm.
It's just sometimes the people suck.
Yep. I love the people consider that, but
Yeah,
that's anywhere, man. Like that's what you make of it. You know what I mean?
yeah, it
You
is
surround
what you make
yourself
of
with
it.
shit, you're covered in it.
And like, I really do like to sit there and thank Texas filmmakers, because there are other Texas filmmakers. Richard Linklater, I
Mhm.
believe he can sit there and he can make the state look so magical, so wonderful.
Right.
You know, so I'm always very grateful. It's all like, anytime if I feel like I fall out of love, it's like, maybe I just need to go pop one of these films on. Definitely not this
Right.
film. Definitely not
Not that
Tideland.
one.
Not
No,
Tideland.
it's not
Like,
gonna. That's not a comfortable, wholesome experience for anybody. But
well, God, neither was really Paris, Texas, but Paris, Texas was so emotional. And
that was really emotional.
I think that still just goes along to my family with I mean, my mother never ran out on me, my father did and everything, but like,
Right.
it was more of the what if of, this is what maybe my relationship with my father could have been like. Everything, I was like,
Right.
why couldn't
It was
I
a more
have,
personal experience.
yeah, it's like, why couldn't I have Harry Dean Stanton as my father?
Right.
But then again, he ran off on his son too, because he dropped it off
Then he
over to
ran
his
off on his
brothers,
kid, yeah,
and he
and
went
never
off
came
into the,
back.
yeah, he went off to the desert, never came back until they found
Mhm.
him. And I think that's also a reason why I love this film so much too, with Paris, Texas. It's just the weird mystery of it all, you
Right.
know. But yeah, I definitely felt like the skinning, the taxidermy work, I definitely feel like
Right.
Gillian was channeling Texas Chainsaw. Because
Oh, 100%.
then that's when I started getting the vibes from, you know, God rest his soul, director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, oh my god, yeah, I can't believe, oh my god, Toby Hooper. and
Toby
everything.
Hooper.
Like Toby Hooper kind of could also get the anxiety of the state of living
Right.
through the heat and what the heat can sit there and do to you and everything. And
Yeah.
you even feel that too. So this
Well, the
film's,
original Texas Chainsaw was very, very sweaty and greasy. You know what I mean? I mean, they were in these steel shacks in the heat.
real human remains being
Yeah.
used and everything because it was cheaper than the plaster.
Because it was cheaper than the plaster. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, no, come to Texas, you'll find yourself in either a whimsical wonderland, a mystical place, or full-blown anxiety
Or on a meat,
yeah,
or on a meat hook somewhere in the woods.
yeah, you know. Oh my god, like I still scramble that and the pig squeal scene, and then when the dude gets his head cracked, yeah,
What is
those
it?
scenes
Yeah.
get me.
The pig hammer. That pig hammer scene is iconic.
Oh yeah, it still hits.
Absolutely iconic. Yeah, absolutely iconic.
It still hits. Wrapping up some final thoughts for Tideland.
So for me, again, it was the imagery and the just the raw feel of the movie. Again, it was meant to be shocking, but it was also meant to be from innocent viewpoint, which I think is something that Terry Gilliam hadn't done before. Films like Brazil and Fear and Loathing and stuff like that. He's always had imagery science.
Yeah.
That's something he's always had down to his. I mean, even Time Bandit. Come on.
Yeah.
So imagery's always been his thing, but his message hasn't always been clear because even like, again, Brazil, we can keep coming back to Brazil all we want to. That movie was fucking abstract and bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
But it was meant to be that way. You know what I mean? And I think that this one was really had a lot to say about child abuse, about addiction, and about mental health as a whole. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely loud. You may not have liked what it had to say, but it had a to say.
Yeah, I think just Terry Gilliam as an artist to begin with, he does not hold back. If there is something he wants to be said, he'll fucking say it, regardless of it.
And that's something with him. He's never cared if films for him, not for.
Yeah. Well, I think also too, he's sitting a little bit on Monty Python money, so it's more of like, like, dude, I can do what the fuck I want. It's all like, you think I really want to do this? Yeah. It's like, if I'm not doing this, I'm painting. I can do whatever the fuck I want, especially in painting.
Whatever the hell I want.
It's all like, you can't tell me I can't paint that. I'll paint 1,000 dicks if I want to.
Yeah.
Like,
and because I want to, no other reason.
It's like, I'm Terry motherfucking Gilliam, bitch.
And I mean, Monty Python carried his career for 35 years.
And then they still, I think
there's still people that ride with him.
A few reunion meetups, and I think they did a few shows after they lost Michael. I think it was Michael.
Michael, there might have been, yeah. I think they did do a couple of reunion shows, but I mean, even Monty Python started the careers of like Stephen and Fry, Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry,
and everything. It's amazing, folks. Definitely watch it, but if you want to get into the work of Terry Gilliam's work, viewer beware. Is there a film from Terry Gilliam you would, I guess, refer to?
I would recommend. I mean, a lot of people have
already
seen some stuff. You know what I mean? Like almost everybody I've seen. Time Bandits is a little dated for most people, but I definitely recommend that, especially if you were a fan of Willow and stuff like that from the 80s. I think that Time Bandits was 1981. I think so. It's right back. It's right there with like Krull and all those really bad campy 80s movies. Krull, by the way, being one of my favorite movies still to this day.
Deathstalker,
because it's so ridiculous. Deathstalker, Legend with Tom Hanks.
God, yes.
Or Tom Cruise. Sorry, not Tom.
Yeah, Hanks. I was about to say. I was like, wait. Like, all I thought of was Baby Tom Boy. Hanks from Tom Hanks from what was it, The Money Pit? And he's just
The Money Pit.
Long hair,
except running around in a loincloth.
Oh my god. So we're gonna move on over because today, the day that we're recording, today's a very special day. Today is Doug Bradley's birthday.
And for those of you that don't know, that is Pinhead himself from the Hellraiser franchise.
He is 71 years old from Liverpool, United Kingdom.
Liverpool.
And we're gonna talk Hellraiser. I'm pretty sure if maybe Freddy or Jason or Michael did not make you love 80s horror, I'm pretty sure then you were a Pinhead fan.
You're a Pinhead fan. You had to have been.
Yeah.
Pinhead had some of the best one-liners and quotes in all of horror movie history. The one that stands out that most people know is "We have such sights to show you."
Mm-hmm.
The character that Doug Bradley created in Pinhead is one of absolute fucking beauty. And him and Clive Barker have been friends for their whole lives.
Yeah.
So them working together at all is always a work of art.
I was listening to the I'm forgetting the podcast's name, but he had just recently done it, and I never really took him to being a podcast listener,
Right.
because I always kind of like figured to him
he does audiobooks and stuff like that too.
Really.
Yeah, he does voiceovers for audiobooks. There's one
it.
that Clive Barker wrote that is called Mr. Be Gone. It's Mr. Be Gone. And the first line in the book is "Burn this book. It will do you harm."
Oh,
and it's told from a
okay. Because you know what? I think Adam.
I sent you that one.
If it wasn't you, then I'm pretty sure maybe Adam was telling me about that, about Mr. Be Gone, because Adam's a big Clive Barker fan.
Fantastic. I also am a huge Clive Barker fan.
Yeah, it freaking amazing.
One of my favorite films by him is Nightbreed.
Yes. My God, that film does not get enough love. But also too,
no,
I'm at the weird spectrum that I actually like Rawhead Rex too, and I had just I revisited that last year. I was like, God, this is so bad, but it's so fucking good.
It's so bad.
It pissed off Barker because it wasn't what he wanted. And I was like, I don't know how much of a dickhead you want for a monster, because that's pretty dickheadish. Like, you know.
You got it.
Yeah. You know.
When you somehow want him to be worse.
Yeah. It's like the only thing I could think of is like, so is it reverse teeth instead of a vagina? It's just a dick.
Instead of a vagina?
It's like, you know.
He always puts out. But I mean, he had some flops and like
most
of
the
his
films
books.
Though that they sit there and they say that is like a flop though, I've always found something that I love, because you know they called Nightbreed a flop. It's like, to me, no, it's not. It starts off like this weird psychological serial killer film, and it crosses over into this religious monster movie. Yep. I love films.
David Cronenberg had a lot to do with Nightbreed.
Yeah,
and he was even in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. And then of course you have Lords of Illusion. I love that. It's a supernatural detective story. That it took something as basic as all like these magicians that perform at Vegas, and it's all like, yeah, you think that's all an act? No, that's real magic. And
this guy made a deal with the devil.
There's that. My buddy Adam HH got me back interested into a lot of the Clive Barker games, like Jericho. He streamed that.
Jericho
and everything.
That was a really good one.
He shout out to him, and I'm gonna just shout him a whole lot because it's Hellraiser too. Check out the Horror Historian YouTube channel and everything. He actually has videos made about Clive Barker video games, and
there was a couple of them. There was Jericho was a good one that was a later release. Can't remember the name of the other one that was on DOS, but there was another one on DOS.
There was a Nightbreed video game.
Yes, and it was terrible.
Yes, it was, but
it was absolutely
I think that it fed you more information than what the movie did, and everything.
Well, the book was really informative.
Yeah,
it was very, very informative. I mean, if you and again, that's like a book, or books to movies. If you're trying to smash all of the book into the movie, it's 7.
Yeah. Which is why to me, I always believe that they should always go the Stephen King route and do miniseries, or a limited series. Clive Barker's The Undying is another one, because I think that was
the one that I was thinking of. Yeah, it was The Undying.
And there was
first person haunted mansion.
There was another one that I think was like unfinished, but I can't remember. What that one was, but you can go check the the Horror Historian's YouTube page.
Yeah, absolutely.
For that. Absolutely loved it. But Hellraiser, everything about it. You mentioned the one-liners of, I'll tell your
the one-liners, the character creation, designing the Cenobites and making everybody reflect the sins. You know what I mean? And they always take the. Clive Barker does a really good job of tying the character to the image of the character. He always has.
Yeah.
He always has.
One of my favorite lines, it's not from Hellraiser, but I think it's from Bloodlines. And it's all like, do I look like someone who cares what God thinks and everything? And it's all like, to me, I think anyone who comes off with that demeaning, but still calm voice and says that, I'm like, I'm not fucking with this motherfucker.
That's
like,
another thing. You don't really see Pinhead get too angry too often.
I think only in the third one.
Third one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then he was a little angry when he got sent back to the box.
When he got sent back to the box, he was, I mean, but you'd be pissed off. You know what I mean?
It's like, I didn't get my meat, you know?
For me, the second film was more visually stunning than the first one, obviously. The first Hellraiser to me, I mean, and it takes a little while to get going.
Yeah.
You're more dealing with her and her psycho family and all of that. But the second one, where we actually get to go to hell and hang out and meet Leviathan, take that journey through the abyss, I really enjoyed the imagery of that. And then Hell on Earth, you know, Pinhead's out of work of art and now is our world, doing his thing freely, free roam. And that first scene where he shows up for the first time and shuts that club down.
Yeah.
That's, the bloodbath that ensues from that is just
the DJ
a gratuitous chance.
Has the records and that was,
and that's just a chance for.
That was the only thing I think I really enjoyed from the third one. Mostly it's because that's the only thing I remember from that one. Like, I know like there was like a dude, he's supposed to be bringing all these bodies up here because Pinhead's in he's like actually in the statue that has appeared.
Yeah, the art statue. Then that was where the second one wound up. They all were encased in that image, and then it got discovered, and the box was part of that. And as the blood fed the statue, the box fell out, and as you get Pandora's box, you play with it, and so it ended up, inevitably open. And I think that they did a really good job with that one. It was a little campy, obviously, but it was more campy than the first one. I think took it too serious. Tried to anyway. But they did go into like you said, Bloodlines. It's more of the getting to know everybody, explaining how this all happened.
Yeah.
The book itself did that, and a really good job of that. Secret Show. The book was really one of those things that was really good about that.
Yes.
And it was and again, the book always translates a little better. You can't always convey as much on film without it. It would have been like a Lord of the Rings situation if he had tried to do.
Speaking of that, I'm reading it.
Are you?
Yeah.
I think Lord of the Rings, it was so long-winded for me, and that's another reason I think
audiobook
audiobook, absolutely that. But I was always more of a Barker fan than a King fan because King was so long-winded. Like, I mean, he takes time to build his world up.
Yeah.
But he was so long-winded.
All that up there is all King. There's a few King off over here, but I have a whole dedicated shelf. I have the entire Dark Tower. I'll read those books over and over again.
Dark Tower was a different one. I really enjoyed the Dark Tower series. That kept you in.
I definitely feel like if you don't like a lot of dense reading from King, but you want to get into a Dark Tower, I feel like you have to suffer with the first book because there's a lot to just get through. But once you get through there,
but that one was okay because they did keep you engaged.
Well,
as opposed to like The Stand, where it takes 500 pages to get warmed up.
I remember reading that, and when you get, because I think it's book 2. It's the introduction. It's Tom. Like, my name's Tom Colin. Like MMOM, that spells Tom. Yep. Terrible use of someone with a mental issue.
Yep.
But when I read that book,
well, he did the same thing in The Green Mile.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
John Coffey was slow.
But like, you definitely know, like in the adaptation for that though, they didn't do that nearly as bad as like getting Patrick Starr to do it in the 98 and 93 miniseries, because it's always funny because I've like discovered far more about Patrick Starr than I thought, because like when I found out I was like, wait, he played Tom Cullen, and then I hear it, I was like, oh my god, I hear his voice, and then I didn't realize he was in Coach until maybe like a year or so ago, and there was like a blooper where Coach actually sat there and like said, "God damn it!" He's like, "You can't say that," and like,
you can't say that,
and like he's completely fucking with the show's lead, and I'm just like over here, it's like, now I gotta watch Coach. I feel like I have to watch Coach just because of him, you know.
But that was such a great series, though.
It is and everything. It was just sad that
That
was
was
the
such a
peak
great
of
series.
that actor's career and everything. Whereas
Right.
Patrick Star is like, I got a whole children's franchise.
I got oh yeah, Jesus.
With a new movie. I didn't even
100%
know
that.
they even came out with a new movie.
Right.
But oh my god, I know we just fell off the fucking
Right.
stage
That's okay.
again.
The rails. We derail a lot.
We derailed the fuck off of that one and everything. But yeah, like I think I stopped watching Hellraiser movies after Hellworld.
Hellworld.
I tried giving the reboots a try, but oh my god, they were so god awful.
And it's and Clive Barker washed his hands of it after a while too.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure after the third one, I'm pretty sure he was like,
yeah.
It's like John Carpenter.
After that.
It's like John Carpenter. Just send me a check.
Send me a check. You can use the likeness. Other than that, I'm out.
Yeah.
And even Doug Bradley stopped being Pinhead after a while. You know what I mean? And that's where it lost it.
Yeah. Well, I think Judgment was supposed to be the one that came after such a long hiatus. And I'm sorry, but I don't think it was so much of the actor's fault, but it was because he had such chubby cheeks. I was like, why is Pinhead so cheeked up on these bones here?
Right.
Like, for someone...
He looks so jovial and happy. He's a little cherub. Look at him, pinch his cheek.
And whenever he looks serious, you just want to pinch his cheek. Like, oh, look at you all trying to be serious.
Oh, fool, aren't you just the meanest devil worshiper ever?
And that's when you get the hook. It's like, son of a bitch, I forgot you could do that, you know.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
But,
and again, I think the Cenobites were a lot of fun. Too, like I said, watching the sin unfold on the flesh, that was a lot of fun for me too.
Yeah, Chatterer,
all of them. I can't remember the girl's name with her throat split open. That was always
they I'll have to see in the podcast episode I had, but they had like a whole other name for her. Because they call her
have their own names and identities.
They called her female Cenobite because there's like Butterball, there's Chatterer, Pinhead.
Chatterer.
But like with the female one, I think they had like a name for her. But like they kind of realized they can't use that because it's very sexual. So
super sexual.
Yeah, it was super sexual.
The whole thing was sex fueled though.
Yeah. Like sadomasochism, but like I'm trying to sit there and see what the original female Cenobite name is.
Don't remember.
Because
didn't they do an offshoot series with her too, I think, didn't they? There was a female Hellraiser.
So they did the remake. And this time they had a female actress play it. I haven't seen that one, but I heard that people had a that they sat there said that she did good. But like it was the whole Doug Bradley thing. It's like she did a phenomenal job, but Doug Bradley will forever. Kind of almost the same thing. Why Chucky will always be Brad Dourif, or. Funny enough, Jason will always be Kane Hodder, you know, because I think
even though you never see or hear him, you know what I mean? But you can tell when it's not him.
When it's him in that body because of just how he just gives like these little small details, and it's like that's
the head top.
And everything, which is kind of almost a bit of a nod to Michael. You know, it's all like
Mikey did the same thing a lot.
Yeah, you know, and you definitely
look of confusion.
You definitely know when that head tilt, I was like, oh, I'm fucked. You know, like
I'm dead. That's it. I'm fucked.
Freddy Krueger. It's like no hate towards Jackie Earle Haley because he's a fucking phenomenal actor, but
he is. But he's not Robert Englund.
Yeah, you know, I feel like those icons of the '80s, whereas the Universal horror guys, you could recast them, and they could possibly do a good job, like Circus Lee as the creature, and you know, Curse of Frankenstein, like, you know, and Peter Cushing, they established those as their own identities and their own brands.
Well, and they were the figureheads of horror back.
Yeah.
You know, Mikey, Jason, Freddy, Chucky, they were all the figureheads, the pinnacle. These were the people that horror was.
Yeah.
Back then, you know what I mean? And especially if you were trying to have a creature.
Yeah. And it's kind of hard to sit there and do these remakes. Like, I mean, have you seen what is it? Sweet Revenge, the Friday the 13th short film that's now I guess supposed to be canonized.
Oh, maybe I did. Yeah, maybe I did.
Jason's all lanky.
Like
Jason's lanky. Yeah. He's a lanky boy, and I'm all like, Jason's gonna have to go.
Jason's beefy, like he's square.
Well, I mean, like,
is a big dude.
Even if you look at Jason in part 2, he wasn't super beefy. but he had kind of almost like that country bod.
He still had the square shoulders.
Yeah,
like he was a big old country boy.
He was like a little bit taller probably than Michael, but he was a stocky boy that he could take a beating. Right. But he, you better make that hit really good because
Mikey's always been tall and lanky.
Yeah.
Mikey's a big boy. Like he's just big in general, a monster. And then you had Freddy, who was, skinny and withered away.
But his horror was all the psychological stuff and the one-liners, the dark humor.
The one-liners, the dark humor. Freddy Krueger was more comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jason said nothing.
Except for part two. Except for part two.
Mm.
Part two was that one time where I think even England was all like, I don't want to.
Too serious.
Yeah, that was too fucking dark and everything. It's like let's go back and have fun with this.
Let's go have fun with it.
Yeah.
Right.
And everything.
And I think Hellraiser always did to me anyway. Doug Bradley always did a good job. I'm having a hard time finding humor in it, but the dark humor is there.
It's
you know what I mean? These are his. It's very deadpan. Yeah, it's absolutely deadpan.
Quite literally, it's deadpan and everything. And
he has a way of telling you you're wrong.
Yeah.
And
the way how he sat there says it, you can just be like, oh, okay, I'm wrong. Like it's I can't argue. I can't argue with you on that. Not that you can do all this thing to me, but just how you enunciate and how you perform. It's like
your rationality is really hard to ignore.
Yeah, God, I know. Like we practically went on like what all like the sequels and everything were compared to the first film, but I mean, like, it just goes to sit there and show you just how versatile Doug Bradley is, that we can talk about anything and everything and throw him into the Hall of Fame of all these icons of the 80s.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, that voice of his had a lot to do with it.
Yes.
The voice of Pinhead was just commanding.
And I don't really think they needed to sit there and do anything in the audio to like give him any bass. No. He did it.
That's him.
But that's also his theater. That's his theater background too.
Yes, theatrics. He has his theater background. You have to project your voice in theater. There's no microphones.
Yeah.
So, especially not when they were coming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I guess this section's really going to be probably more of this is the Doug Bradley in 80s Power Hour.
right.
And everything.
And again, not just Hellraiser, but the icons era are just so important. I mean, and everybody gives the hat and the tip to, Freddy and Jason and, Pinhead and Mikey and all of those guys, because they really did pioneer the way for guys like who enjoy horror and stuff like that. They really, really pioneered a lot of the good studio magic gore. It wasn't all CGI. There was no CG. You weren't allowed to do that. And even when you did, it was those weird electronic 80s crackles and light strikes. You know what I mean? It was driven on creature creation and creating the world that Clive Barker's always, even in his books, his imagery has always been like a Tim Burton fever dream.
Mm-hmm.
And he delivered with that for me for Hellraiser. And again, creating the character was so iconic. And Doug Bradley, I can't picture anybody having commanded the role the way Doug Bradley did.
Yeah. Before we move on to our final film, I do want to sit there and say, do you think that, because since we did bring up CGI and practical, that the current generation that kind of, I guess, poo-poos a little bit on practical, do you think that because since they have been so spoiled with CGI and what CGI could potentially do, that they don't have like kind of like, I guess, what my generation or like the babies of the 90s
for it.
that there is no appreciation and respect of, hey, like, we obviously know this is fake. They did not just get a real alien or a real hell priest,
right? Obviously, come on.
Obviously, like we can suspend our disbelief enough, whereas they have a tough time suspending disbelief.
I think the biggest thing with me as far as CGI goes is that it does take the hands-on. There's something about crafting something by hand. And I mean, we've seen films in recent time like Coraline. That is a handcrafted film.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows in the way that it's delivered. And I think that if Doug Bradley hadn't sat in that chair for 7 hours at a time and then worked a 16-hour shift in that costume, it wouldn't have had the same power that it did if they just put him in a green suit and made him look like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no shade to the people that sit at their computer and make this happen, they are artists in their own right. Digital art is far and away much more impressive than it was when we were watching these films, when we were growing up with cinema. But it's relied on too heavily. There's nobody really sitting in the studio and doing what people like Jim Henson did with the Dark Crystal anymore.
Yeah.
There's no hands-on with it anymore. They're like, all right, mock it up and then run it through the program.
Yeah.
And there's a few films where it still stands out to me that it was okay and it was acceptable and it worked. And like, Smeagol and Lord of the but the actor was still there for it.
Yeah, Andy Serkis' whole performance was never hidden.
He was still crawling around on his knees. He was still doing his own thing. That was his body language. That was his facial expressions. But they did what they did, and I appreciate and respect what they did for that. But then there's movies like Avatar where it's just not them at all, and then at that point it's just basically people narrating over the top of an animated series, and they're in a voice of a sound booth somewhere running lines.
Yeah.
And and they were like, oh, what a great actor. There's no actor there. Like, and so that to me kind of, and again, with the craftsmanship, you know what I mean? Taking the time and seeing your image come to life, like the aliens in the Alien film, Hellraiser, Pinhead, and Doug Bradley, and putting, getting up every morning as Robert Englund and going to bed as Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Those are things that really put the magic in the films for me, is seeing the care and the time and the craftsmanship that really went into it. Again, not to take it away from anything.
Yeah.
Artists in their own right have a lot that they should be respected for. And I've seen a lot of things from them. And I mean, even as a streamer, we see a lot of digital doing great things, amazing things.
I think you see a lot of their art and like the Pixar stuff, even though that's animation, but still, like they're.
But still, though,
when you do the 3D art and the 3D animation, everything, they've been able to sit there perfect it because they don't have to sit there and worry about it being real, and they can work more on the expressions and everything, like with Smeagol. Because even if you look at Smeagol by today, it's like he looks a little bit cartoonish, but it's not that bad.
Cartoonish. But it's not like he's a separate entity from the film.
Yeah, he feels very molded. And I was talking to some friends the other day actually in Discord, and we had this conversation of I can enjoy the Lord of the Rings films, the extended cuts, the non-extended cuts. For what they are, and still enjoy them, even though I know that there is CGI, because yes, I know there is not a fucking troll there,
there's not a troll standing there. Rivendell doesn't exist,
but like it was the fact that there was enough practical there that the CGI was more of an accent than
it wasn't the whole focus of it. It wasn't all done that way, you know what I mean?
Compared
and I use Avatar, that's what Avatar.
Well, yeah, because it dances
first films that premiered. It premiered the use of CG. It was all about what they could do with that and how far they could push it.
Yeah, and you look at the Hobbit trilogy. It took me a bit to kind of get through that first film. I guess I kind of become a little bit more blinded compared to the Desolation of Smaug and the Battle of the Five Armies. Yeah, and everything where it's all like, this looks so fake, and they're like, well, it's fantasy. And they're just, I was like, no. It's like, I feel like I'm looking at this and I'm being completely lied to, and I'm being completely, the filmmakers
the deception is real.
Yeah, the deception is real. And then when I try to watch
and it's
Avatar,
in your face. It's not even like,
Yeah. And whenever I try to watch Avatar, I'm all like, what is this? And
it's tough. It's tough to watch. And like I said, that's another thing. They took one still shot of every actor, and then he's in a sound booth. The thing is,
but we looked at James Cameron's body of work, and to be honest, everything he has done except for Piranha 2, The Spawning.
Piranha 2.
Except for Piranha 2, also, The Spawning.
Piranha, for all you guys that don't know, there was a movie that was, they were bad, guys. They were bad. But they were fun, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they were always a good time. And that's the one thing about 80s and 90s.
But I can at least I can at least give to the remake of Piranha and everything. Because I think it was called Piranha 3DD and everything, or something like that.
Yep.
They knew what the assignment
Piranha 3D
was.
about the same time Jaws 3D came out. I think it was around this.
This one was the remake afterwards.
A recent one, yeah.
Yeah, and that they understood the assignment of don't take this seriously. It's a fucking stupid piranha.
It's a fucking stupid piranha
there's
movie.
a cave-in. There was some explosion because some people were doing some shit they weren't supposed to.
Right.
And piranhas that were living underneath the water. That cave-in has finally loosened up, and they all come through.
They all come through.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, at least like I feel like that's the one remake it never lost itself, because it's like, look, like we know what this is. We're gonna have tits, blood, and some
gotta have gratuitous boobs. Gotta be gratuitous boobs. Absolutely.
It's like what Joe Bob says: blood, breast, and beast.
Blood, breast, and beast.
Those are the three things.
Yep.
But then you look at Avatar, and I was really looking at James Cameron's body of work. Outside of the first two Terminator films, he doesn't really have films that are very strong story. But even when you look at the Terminator films, they're very basic story, you know. So like, you know, but I also know that people aren't going to expect like, you know, the Crying Game or the Piano Man or anything of that type of dramatic stuff. Like but you expect spectacle. That's what he's all about, and that's what Avatar is. It's
you go to watch the explosions and the grandeur of it.
Yeah,
very, very, very much special effects, like, and very low story.
Very bare bones story, you know, progressing kind of stuff like that. And I guess just because like my age, it's like I want more.
I do too.
And
that's again with like some of the films that we've talked about today, like Tideland being one of them. Mm-hmm. It's all about the story. The imagery, is there.
That's all practical, except for probably the yeah, because you know what, they never had the CGI train thing because they used the house, and God, that house looked like shit towards the end. Even after all the paint up, you know, they used it very, very well enough that, you know, they didn't need the CGI train, and it still had the same impact.
Yep, that movie was all hands on, I believe.
The end of the world. Always the
end of the world. Right? Yeah, always the end of the world.
We're gonna move on to our final film, Sinners, Ryan Coolidge. Thankfully you picked this up because this is a redeeming story for me, because Paul, that metal Paul, had picked this. I was so busy, was unable to watch this film. I kind of knew what it was about, but God, I kicked myself in the ass this morning when I watched it. I was like,
it's one of the best films I've seen in so long. It's one of the best films I've seen in a very, very long time.
And you mentioned contender for possibly best picture of the year. So. I completely agree. The music, the story, very simple story, but still, the just all the history woven into it. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
I don't expect any less from Ryan Coogler, because Coogler is amazing. You know, I don't think that there's really a film of his that I've seen that has let me down. I love the Creed movies. I love Fruitvale Station. Those were really good. And then I saw this, and I was all like, music. That's Carver's thing for this episode's music.
That's absolutely me.
Why did you pick this?
I picked it because of the solid story. I think it had a great story. And I'm going to preface this a little bit by saying I'm not a huge fan. I've never really been the vampire kind of cat. They've always kind of dropped the ball with me. But I mean, there was movies back in the day, Full Moon Pictures, like Subspecies, and some of those that were.
I grew up on the VHS boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Full Moon. You know. So I mean, and those movies were always expensive, but they always kind of missed with me. And when I was told that I should go see Sinners, and I was a little bit ignorant to what it was about. I hadn't really paid too much attention to what was out. And the first words out of the person's mouth was, "It's a vampire flick." I'm like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
And so I went and saw Until Dawn instead.
And
they went and saw Sinners. And when we got out of our separate movies, we shared notes, and I felt like I missed out. I was like, "Well, I should have saw your movie. Mine sucked."
That FOMO was hitting hard. God, I felt so old saying that. I felt so old. Hard.
And so I immediately turned around. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go buy it." I went from Until Dawn right back into the showing of Sinners, and it was so good. It was so well put together, and Michael B. Jackson did a fucking amazing job with his character of Smoke.
Yes.
or Jordan, sorry. And he did such a good job with Smoke. Um, they really did a good job with casting, and it had such good names in it. The music and the way that they did the music in that film was from the beginning of music in time to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the way that struck a chord with me, because it didn't just focus on the blues and stuff of the time, because, you know, him being a preacher's son and them being in the midst of prohibition and slavery, and those times, blues and gospel were big for those times. And like you and I were talking about earlier, they touched on like the Irish folk music and everything, just everything in between. And I think that, I mean, in my opinion, there was a very heavy focus on that because of them using the people that they did as far as that goes for the musical influences. I think that the blues in it was just absolutely fucking amazing. Buddy Guy being one iconic blues musician. And they picked a good kid to play him as a young child. And, you know, his father's guitar and all of the like Smokestack's guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And like just all of that kind of hammy mythology that it had to do with. I just think it was so good. And the way that they tied the film together, it wasn't completely transparent the whole time. But when it turned into a vampire flick, it was enough fun to keep you interested, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing too that I really enjoy about this is that it respected each culture's background as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the Irish,
Absolutely.
but you know, the slaves and you know,
Yep.
the blacks and everything here in America, and
Mm-hmm.
and then going all the
We
way
even had a little
into
voodoo influence in there
Africa.
too, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like,
You
yeah,
had the voodoo stuff, and then you had the
yeah,
Choctaw Indian Nation, are
yep,
vampire hunters. Now,
yep.
if there's ever going to be maybe not a sequel, but a spinoff, I want to fucking see that
Spin-off.
Choctaw Nation. I want to
Yep.
see them hunt these vampires, because just that little sliver of it, I was really
Because
hoping that,
they only touched on that for a minute at the farmhouse.
yeah,
That was a very
and
short interaction. Then they
I
never came back. They're like, all right, fuck, you don't want to work with us, you're on your own. Bye.
yeah,
Good luck.
and then of
I'd be
course that's
inside when the
exactly
sun
what
goes
happened to that
down.
woman, because the woman's like over here, it's like
Yep.
calling for her husband, and
Right.
the best introduction to a fucking villain. He's just over there in that rocking chair,
Yep.
blood on them claws and everything, and he's like,
He'll be right with us.
yeah, he's just resting and everything, and
Yep.
and then she looks over at her husband, and he's like down,
As he
and then
gets up.
cuts right
Yep.
back to the guy, yeah, and then the husband gets up, and he just kind of like looks at him, and like, to me, for one, this also reminds me, because we're bringing Tobe Hooper back, this also reminds me of my love for how Tobe Hooper did the vampires in Salem's Lot.
Salem's Lot. Yeah.
The eyes,
absolutely.
the way how the eyes reflect and everything, and and even then, when you really get your first look at the vampire in Salem's Lot in that miniseries, the same thing, kind of like in the book. What is he in? He's in a fucking rocking chair.
He's in a fucking rocking chair.
Rocking chair in the shadow, just rocking back and forth and everything.
That's such a standard, though. You know what I mean?
But like,
it's been an iconic.
If you want
image.
horror and suspense going, when you look at Salem's Lot and you sit there and you see that bloody hell, I'm having to look up his name, not Lance Kerwin, that was Mark, which I think he actually just recently passed away, I believe. So Jeffrey Lewis as Mike Ryerson,
Mike Ryerson,
him being, I think, like, well, technically not the first, he was the second one, because one of the boys is the one that bit him and you saw him. But when you see him in the teacher's house, because he came back and he's just rocking in that chair,
waiting for him to come home,
and he comes into that room and he just kind of looks up at him and he's like, "Teacher," and I'm like, as a kid, terrified the shit out of me.
Oh yeah,
I probably wouldn't watch that man again in another film until I sat there and saw that film he did with Clint Eastwood, Every Which Way But Loose, and everything.
Right, something you can laugh at and be comfortable around. Like,
yeah. So when seeing this in Sinners, I was like, it's a Salem's Lot reference right there. It was
it was 100% not.
It was just him coming in and I think it's pronounced Remick, I think was his name. Wow, like it's not even, Remick, and I mean Jack O'Connell's take on it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I think he's probably up with
He played the Irishman real well.
yes, the
Real well.
up with Nosferatu with Skarsgård playing Count Orlok.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Also,
two,
Skarsgård, another phenomenal fucking actor.
those two, I think, are in the running of the best vampire villain of the decade.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Everything.
I agree with you there.
And,
I 100%
and they
agree. And
do
if
it,
I don't see this one winning an award, I'm going to be pissed off.
yeah, like just how separate and different that they were, because they were obviously both old.
Yeah,
but of course Orlok, I think, hinted at that he was like, I think, even older than Jesus. So like apparently he had
older than
existed.
Jesus, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, for all time.
Yeah,
I've always been
and
here.
Everything. And then you have like this one guy here, just having them, you know, two separate backgrounds, but like both the actors just.
We're just like you. We've all been oppressed. We've all been. Let's join forces and be together.
Yeah,
and I think the whole way that they ended and the way that they put that to rest was very unique, in my opinion. And watching it go through time and the eras as the characters evolve, and one of them in particular ages, I think is just iconic. I think it was really well. I haven't seen done too many times, and I certainly done with quite so much dignity.
There was one thing I was curious about. Well, there's a lot of things I'm very, very curious about this film. For one, the song that Sammy sings, at the juke joint, and you're having both past and future collide in this. I want to sit there and know, what were your thoughts, because like to me, I was like wondering, well, is he kind of conjuring up the energy of the ancestors, of the past, of the culture itself, while he's playing
what
this?
They did there, and I feel like this is,
but at the same time,
it was gospel at heart.
It was influencing the future as well, because even the future was there, because the future is feeling this as well, and that Sammy is like this important. I really kind of wish that maybe the film talked about this a little bit, because even Remick talks about just how important Sammy was.
How important the music. Well, and his music is what brought them together.
Yes.
Was your song.
Yeah.
And that again, back in the day, and this is filmed from the perspective of, the Mississippis and that old Delta world. That Delta blues is so iconic and so regarded as like the holy grail of blues, in my opinion. And what that all came from, in my view, background, especially in the Deep South. Churches back then were all about the gospel and all about music, rejoicing and sharing, and you even see it a little bit. The blues is, and because it was so sexualized, and because people, joint was considered a place of sin and depravity, and they're not wrong. You know what I mean? They're not wrong.
Yeah.
But I think that they did that the way. Buddy Guy had a lot to say about how the portrayed him, because he grew up during those times, and he was again one of the pioneers of that blues resonator, which is the type of guitar that he played with, the silver front and everything like that, which is another little piece of information that you don't really read. When he smashes the guitar over Remick's head and stops him, is because metal pieces on the front of it were made from silver back in the day.
So I was wondering that too, because that was going to be my second one, because I was like, over here, I was thinking that's
back in the day, blues resonator, they were made from silver. Steel was more expensive. Back then, silver was kept, and most people would melt them down and make them themselves. A lot of them were handmade. They weren't.
Yeah.
So for you to have a blues resonator back, somebody, or you were somebody.
Yeah, because when I saw that, what I was also thinking was, did the father bless the guitar, thinking that this was going to be like, this is going to be my son's downfall? Because the father told him to put it down. Yeah. But like,
he didn't want him to have anything to do with it.
But when he went to go get the guitar, it was there, right there. And like, I'm like over here, it's like, was this something that I'm not clicking, that maybe, I guess the dad thought, if I bless this, maybe the devil won't take him. Yeah. And then of course, getting
the front of it was made of silver.
Yeah. And
the metal was silver.
I was surprised that Remick was able to even pick the fucker up. Like with it being silver, like it burned because
his hand burned when he pulled it away.
And like it like they pull it and then everyone else is like feeling it too, like what seemed to be like the reverb from that shock. And
well, that goes back to the head vampire effects all the
but of course for some reason, you know, it didn't, you know, what was weird was that seemed to affect everyone. But I'm pretty sure because, like, you know, Mary and Stack, they were able to not burn. They were able to get into safety. So my thing is, it's all like
they took off early before that last conflict.
Yeah. So I was like wondering
once Stack and Smoke got into it.
Yeah.
They left.
Yeah.
That was the deal.
So I was kind of almost wondering. I was all like, so do they only feel a little bit of it? Because it's like that whole congregation burned the fuck up. But it made me wonder if they were hiding and if Remick just burned by himself, would they have felt that? But it seems like it didn't matter.
It didn't touch on that. I don't think it did.
Yeah. It's like, I guess it's like only certain things, you know, kind of more to alarm the other people. Hey, your master's being hurt, you know?
Right. Yeah. More of that flock mentality.
Yeah. And now this was an amazing
absolutely
movie.
An amazing film.
So much to touch on that we just don't have the time.
Right. And I do, and again, I say it loud and clear and loud and proud. I think for some big awards this year. I really do.
It needs to. Especially towards the end. Because
if not the soundtrack alone.
When Samuel could not give up the guitar, and then he becomes this big iconic star,
blues icon,
and then Mary and Stack come back and they talk about the whole deal thing, like, you know, Smoke promise, which before that,
and all they came back for was to check, see how the little boy was doing,
you know, but in between there, you know, you have Smoke, which is taking out the Grand Dragon of the Ku Klux Klan, and I'm all like, is this really how we're gonna lose Smoke?
Oh yeah, but I mean that's the hero's death, man. That was a hero's death.
You know, it's like he just survived the vampires. Now he has to fight the Klansmen, and I mean that was some Rambo, John Rambo
he fought
shit.
The Klansmen.
Yeah.
Yep. He fought the Klansmen. Standalone by himself.
The chef's kiss right before killing the Grand Dragon and everything was him taking that grenade and throwing it into the damn truck and everything. And I was like, none of you fuckers thought about getting the fuck out.
You're not leaving. You're not leaving. You're confused. Nobody goes home.
They blew up and everything, and I think a bullet ricocheted and got him on the side. I was like, son of a bitch.
He got shot in the side.
And
I mean, he was never intended. He knew he wasn't going to live.
Yeah.
That's why he sent everybody away.
And then of course he goes and he fucking opens up a whole Tommy gun magazine right into. I was all like, that's fucking chef's kiss. Like, I definitely feel like, you know, what is it? It's one of those moments like in Inglourious Bastards when, you know, the Nazis are going to get it all and they're all locked up in that one theater and it's burning up, and any of them that are trying to escape, I think some of the bastards were there to shoot at them to make sure no one got out. And I was all like,
it's gratifying.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very gratifying and everything. And you don't really get to sit there and see too many Klans members get gunned down in the cinema.
Well, and it's such the racism in Hollywood is such.
Your mic completely cut out.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that racism has been such a hot. Film took a big leap by even dealing with that in itself.
Yeah. And
I think that the ignorant white boy was definitely a leap, and and for the director, it could have gone one of two ways, honestly.
Yeah.
And everybody received it really well. He delivered the right message.
Oh,
doing what he did. It wasn't, and the film itself wasn't racially.
Yeah.
At all. But everybody got what they deserved at the end. And I really think that the music was a huge focus of the movie because of who they chose to live through it, and using Buddy Guy for that. I think was an awesome choice, an absolutely amazing choice. The music being the focus, it could very well be because that scene in the juke joint where history comes alive, really fucking cool.
Yeah. And then of course when we get to the final end, when we get to Buddy Guy playing the older Sammy Moore, and
Yep.
then you have Stack and Mary come, and
Yep.
he mentions I don't like any like that electric guitar shit.
I don't like any of that new stuff.
It's
You
like,
still have that real?
Yeah, and he starts playing it, and it's almost for a split second like you see those vampires are alive once more. Like,
Yep.
what bit of a soul, which they even kind of they even talk about in the film.
He said it on his way out the door. He was like, that was the
yeah, you know, and even then, like, looking back at them, it's like, you know, before all that shit happened, like, that day was like the best day of my life. And it's like going back and looking at the brothers, and, you know, the last time they saw the son together,
a little flashback on the way through.
Yeah, it was all nicely done. And it's more the we're living this life now, but like,
man,
after listening to that song was enough that it just brought them back and everything to it. And then of course, like, Mary, you know, she kind of feels bad that she has to leave him, and it repeats the same thing too, because when she figures out who Sammy was, and she's like, "Are you little Sammy?" And is like, "Yeah." It was like, "Oh, like, you know, I'm Mary, like, I remember you." You know, there was already a family dynamic to that. And then when you look at her as the vampire years later, he's old. It's like, it's that same vibe. Despite them being vampires,
she's still there to check on. Well, you mean, you got to think about it. He's still little Sammy to her.
Yeah, and he'll always be little Sammy.
She did.
Yeah, it's absolutely wonderful, and I absolutely love this film.
Paul, super touching.
I hope I've redeemed you if you're listening to this. I hope I redeemed you.
I'm just glad you got a chance to watch it, because again, I think that this is probably one of the best films of the year, if not the last couple.
Yeah.
It was definitely one of my favorite movie-going experiences for a very, very long time.
I think, for my final thoughts on this, of all the characters, because there were so many characters I loved in this film that did not deserve to die. Delta Slim, played by Delroy Lindo, did not deserve. That man went out fucking fighting.
But he never disappoints, dude. That guy is so good at what he does. He's like, so good at what he does.
For spoilers for folks that are possibly reading into Dark Tower, his ending reminded me so much of Father Callahan's ending in the story, where Callahan's all like, "I know I can't beat them all, but I can fucking distract them long enough for the heroes to go save the other members of the group." And that's exactly what he did. And I kind of I just really wanted maybe a little bit of an extra scene where he's like, "Come on, you sons of bitches." And maybe he takes 2 with him right before.
He took a couple with him.
Yeah.
He took a couple with him.
I was like, no, he doesn't deserve to die. Like, this is right next to the Annie character. She didn't deserve to die neither. But she was more the mentor. She knew all of this stuff. Sooner or later, she had to die so that the heroes.
We knew that was coming. So that the heroes.
She is the Obi-Wan for this group. She knows everything. Therefore, she has to die because the stakes can't rise any higher, or they can't rise without her being there presently. Like,
without her being there presently.
Yeah. And I loved it when she threw the pickled freaking garlic into fucking Stack's face.
Love
and
that.
He's like,
Stack's face.
Because like I'm like over here, it's like, shit, she had holy water on her, and then they're all like, it's pickled garlic, and they're like, what? And I was like, shit. And I was all like, it's had so many wonderful moments. Moments.
It really did.
Thank you so much for picking this film, because this was an epic. I had a lot of fun. With it.
Absolutely great film. Yeah, it was a fun ride. I've watched it several times since then.
What are your final thoughts on this film?
As far as like I've said, I think that Sinners, it sees its deserved rights, man. I think it was absolutely phenomenal. The music was, and again, you know, with me being my heart, I think it really spoke to me in that regard too. The history of all of that stuff from
in and out.
Yours was doing it too a minute ago.
Okay, so it had to be the internet. I was like, is this mic issue?
Yeah.
Then? I apologize.
Nah, my mic's. No, you're good. You're good. We'll get it figured out. But I think that the music was really, the history and the culture and everything, and
everything you just said went out. Oh my fucking god! Jesus Christ! Internet, hold the fuck
Internet, hold out. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I think that the music in that movie.
Son of a bitch!
Tied. Really? Really?
Oh my
Hang in
god.
here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're good. I think you get.
Okay. The way that they tied music really touching to me. I enjoyed that. And just the whole film, the way that it was put together, really well put together, and the way it was shot, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I'm sorry, folks, again for this internet. I really do apologize. I really do. I'm all like, have I been also like? I didn't know I was going. I
You've
thought it
been
was your
cutting out a
mic,
little
and
bit
I'm
too,
all
yeah.
like, I was all like, I hope the people can read lips. For the audio
Right.
listeners, you're fucked. I'm sorry.
The audio listeners, you're fucked. We'll make sure to put subtitles on it.
Right, and everything. I'll put a whole disclaimer on here and everything. We are gonna wrap this up, because I'm like looking at we're an hour and a half into this and everything. Where can the folks find you on the socials?
You guys can find me on Twitch by the Sin and Sin Carver as far as my music.
Okay. As the internet went out, but I read his lips. I know CarverofSyn and Sin Carver. That's where you
Sin
guys
and
can...
Sin Carver. Yeah.
Sin Carver for his music, CarverofSyn for Twitch and everything. That's where you can find them.
Yep.
We're trying to
and if you guys are into some horror games and stuff, I'm always down for some horror games, community games, things like that. Come check out the stream. You might see some things you've never seen before.
Exactly. Or you can also redeem the Viking theme. Like that's like the best redeem ever. Where every time I redeem it, all I can think of is that flashback to Family Guy when Brian did some music videos for Andy Warhol in the 70s and everything, and like it's Brian doing the march as that one chick is pouring fucking tomato sauce from Campbell's
tomato sauce
all over, and it's like that's all I think of. It's like it just plays in a loop in my head, and it's all like, this is why I love this so freaking much.
It's rent free.
Right, it lives rent free. Oops, shit. I accidentally lost my light. Here we go. I've been having to keep Google on. I'm working on a new lighting setup for all this shit. I apologize, folks, and everything. This has been an interesting episode.
Absolutely,
folks. You can find me at the Gothic Storyteller on all the socials, down below in the comments. All over the place. I have a link tree. It's everywhere. And thank you guys again for listening. And we'll catch you guys all later. Bye bye.
Absolutely.